Hi, welcome to the video 2.5 on solving inequalities. So first we're going to take a look at situation. It's kind of the idea of why we have to switch the sign when we multiply or divide by a negative number. So Josie says, I'm thinking of two numbers, A and B, and I plotted them on the number line so you can see A is less than B. But guess what happens when I multiply both numbers by -1? They switch. The numbers become -a and -b, and the correct inequality becomes -a is greater than -b. So we're going to take a look at an actual example to see what happens. So let's say that A is 5 and B is 10, and you could do this with any number where A is less than B, and that's the way they go on the number line. 5 is less than 10, so we could write 5 is less than 10. But then if we multiply them by -1, we have -5 and -10. And in that case, -5 is greater than -10, so it switches like that. So that's the reason why when you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to switch the sign. And so this asks us, does that make sense if it's multiplied by any negative number? And that's also divided by, we'll put and divided by any negative number. And the answer is yes, because when you multiply by a negative, I'll put or divide, the numbers have the opposite sign. And the reason for that is our number line is reflection on both sides. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, and -1, -2, -3. And so when you multiply by by a negative number, it switches. They go to the opposite of the side they were on before, and so that switches which one is greater and which one is smaller. Okay, let's take a look at actually solving some inequalities then. So when we solve an inequality, it involves showing your work, your problem solving, graphing your solution, and writing the solution set. So for the first one, we're just going to go ahead and distribute. And so we have 6y plus 12 plus 2y minus 2 is greater than 10. And then we're going to combine our like terms, so it's just like solving an equation. So we have 8y, and then 12 minus 2 is 10, so we've got plus 10 is greater than 10. Subtract 10 from both sides, and we have 8y is greater than 0, y is greater than 0. So then we graph our solution, and it's an open circle. It cannot actually be 0, and then y is greater than 0, so it's pointing in that direction. This one down here, we're going to distribute first. So we've got -6x plus 14, and we're going to combine our like terms. -6x plus 19 is greater than 11 minus 6x. I'm going to add 6x to both sides. And so now we have 19 is greater than 11. And that is always true, so our solution set is all real numbers. Oops, I forgot to write my solution set up here. So y is greater than 0. So on this one, if we were to make a graph of it, it would just be everything. We would highlight everything on the graph. Everything is a possible solution of that inequality. Okay, so on the back, I would like you to try 3, 4, and 5 and pause the video while you do it, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, so for number 3, our answer is x is less than or equal to 3, and our graphing looks like this. So it's a closed circle, and then it's showing or highlighting everything to the left of 3. Down here, we've got -2 is less than x, or you could have also written x is greater than -2. Open circle, and everything greater than -2 is shown. And then on number 5 was a little bit weird. So it's kind of like the all solutions one, or all real numbers, but this time it says 18 is greater than 20, which is never going to be the case. So our solution set is nothing, the null set, or no solution. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to writing some inequalities. So we're going to do the first one together, and then you can try the second one by yourself. So Gretchen goes to Six Flags for 5 hours. She wants to go on as many rides as possible. The average ride takes about 38 minutes. That's including waiting in line. And she knows that lunch takes approximately 24 minutes. We want to write and solve an inequality to determine how many rides she'll get to ride. So if we want to know how many rides, that's our variable. We're going to say x equals number of rides. And we know that 38 times the number of rides, since it's 38 minutes per ride, plus 24 minutes for lunch, and we want that to be less than 5 hours, and these are in minutes, so we're talking about 5 hours times 60 minutes is 300 minutes. And then we just solve. So subtract 24, we'll say less than or equal to 300, because it says that she's going to be there for 5 hours, not less than 5 hours. So then we have 38x is less than or equal to 276. Divide both sides by 38. X is less than or equal to 7.3. And so that means 7 rides. She can't ride more than 7 rides because, she doesn't have enough time to ride 8. Okay, go ahead and pause it and try number 7 and push play again when you're ready for the answer. Okay, so our answer here is n is greater than 12, because we want one for which Edwin will pay more than Rhea. And on this one, it's 11 trips, because if it's 12, they pay the exact same amount. If the number of trips is greater than 12, then Edwin's going to pay more. If it's 11 or less, then Edwin's going to pay less in that case. All right, please write down any questions that you have for me so that I can answer them in class.